Welcome to Monk's Moon Temple. Come in. Find a place to sit, or lie down. Let the ground hold you. Let the air around you soften. There is nowhere you need to be right now, nothing you need to do. Just listen. Just be. Today, we will explore a gentle truth, one that the Buddha taught with great compassion. It is the wisdom of balance. It is the art of giving from a place of wholeness, not emptiness. It is learning to help others without disappearing in the process. This is not a lesson in selfishness. It is a lesson in sustainability. It is about keeping your own flame alive, so you can light other candles without being extinguished. I remember, many years ago, walking through a forest after a long rain. The path was muddy, the leaves were heavy with water. I came upon a small stone bridge over a stream. The water was rushing, fierce and brown, carrying twigs and leaves away. But at the very edge of the stream, right where the water met the earth, there was a single, still pool. It was clear and calm. The rushing water flowed past it, but the pool remained, collecting the clean seepage from the bank, reflecting the patches of sky between the trees. I sat and watched it for a long time. That pool did not try to stop the stream. It did not try to become the torrent. It simply existed beside it, a place of stillness. And in its stillness, it offered refreshment. To insects, to birds, to my own tired eyes. That pool taught me more about balance than any scripture. We can be in the flow of life, with all its demands to help, to fix, to do, and still preserve a clear, still pool within ourselves. If we lose that inner pool, we become nothing but the churning, muddy torrent, exhausted, unclear, and unable to offer true refreshment to anyone. This is the heart of what we speak of today. In Buddhism, the Buddha guides us on the middle path, a way of living that avoids the extremes. One extreme is neglecting others for our own pleasure. The other, just as perilous, is neglecting ourselves for the sake of others. We are going to talk about that second extreme, because it often wears the mask of virtue. It whispers that to be good, we must erase ourselves. The Buddha, in his boundless wisdom, tells us this is not the way. To offer true help, you must be someone who can help. You must be a vessel that is full, a lamp that has oil, a tree with deep roots. If this is your first time in this space of calm reflection, I warmly invite you to subscribe to Monk's Moon Temple. Here, we regularly explore such pathways to inner peace and wise living. Your presence enriches this community. Now, let us begin our journey into balance. Let us start with a metaphor, a new one, born from that forest pool. Imagine your mind, your spirit, your energy, as a clear glass bowl. This bowl is placed under a gentle, constant spring. The spring represents the sources of your replenishment, quiet, sleep, joy, learning, meditation. The water filling the bowl is your peace, your clarity, your resilience. Now, from this bowl, you can dip a ladle and pour water to nourish the dry soil of another's hardship, to cool a fevered brow, to wash a wound. This is helping. This is compassion in action. But what happens if you become so focused on pouring, on ladling out water to every parched plant you see, that you turn your back on the spring? You stop hearing its trickle. The bowl empties. Soon, you are scraping the bottom, trying to give what you no longer have. Your ladle comes up with nothing but dust. The one you are trying to help receives only your desperation, your hollow gesture. This is what happens when we lose ourselves in helping. we disconnect from our source. The Buddha didn't teach us to be selfless to the point of self-annihilation. He taught us to be wise. And wisdom begins with tending to the spring that feeds the bowl. I will tell you a story. Once, there was a skilled calligrapher in a mountain temple. His brushstrokes were like whispers of the wind, capturing the essence of a single character with breathtaking beauty. People would travel for days, bringing him precious paper, asking him to write words of blessing, of healing, of memorial. He never refused. Day and night, he stood at his desk, his brush moving, his heart pouring into each stroke. But he stopped walking in the mountains that had once inspired him. He stopped practicing the slow, basic strokes that were the foundation of his art. He stopped sitting in silence to let the ink of his soul mix properly. He was only giving the final product. After a year, a keen-eyed patron looked at a newly finished scroll and saw it. The lines, while technically perfect, had lost their spirit. They were beautiful, but they were empty. They no longer held the mountain air or the stillness of dawn. The calligrapher had given away the art without replenishing the artist. He had poured from the bowl until it was dry, and his work showed it. He had to step away, to return to the basics, to walk and sit and be, before his gift could truly flow again. This is so common in our lives. We are the calligrapher. Our work, our care for our family, our support for our friends, these are our scrolls. But if we do not nourish the artist, if we neglect the walks, the silence, the practice of simply being, our care, though well-intentioned, becomes hollow. It loses the quality that makes it truly healing. The Buddha taught that our spiritual development, our bhavana, is our primary duty. This is not a retreat from the world, it is what makes our engagement with the world meaningful and true. A monk must meditate, must study, must contemplate, not instead of serving, but so that his service is rooted in depth, not in habit or ego. Let me share a memory from my own early days in the monastery. I was placed in charge of the evening readings. I loved it. I loved the sound of the words in the quiet hall, the faces softened by lamplight. But I became so anxious to make it perfect, to find the most inspiring passages, to deliver them with just the right tone, that I began to neglect my own private reading. My personal study became merely research for the public talk. My meditation became a rehearsal. One evening, my teacher approached me after the reading. He said, "Your words are like lovely shells, collected from the shore and displayed. But I no longer hear the ocean in them." His words struck me to the core. I had been polishing the shells while forgetting the vast, deep sea from which they came. I had to rediscover the ocean for myself, through silent, purposeless sitting, through reading texts not for a lesson to give, but for a truth to live. Only then did the readings regain their life. Balance is not a static line we walk. It is a dynamic, gentle rocking, like a boat on a calm lake. We lean into service, then we lean back into replenishment. Both motions keep us afloat. Leaning only one way tips the boat over. So, we must cultivate the awareness to feel that tipping, and the courage to adjust our weight. Consider another new metaphor. You are a musician, and your life is your instrument. It could be a flute, a stringed instrument, a drum. To create music for others, soothing, uplifting, connecting music, you must first keep your instrument in tune. You must clean it, protect it from extremes of heat and cold, practice scales to maintain its responsiveness. If you only ever play concerts, never tuning, never caring for the wood or the strings, the music will eventually go sour. The instrument will crack. The very thing that allows you to give music will be destroyed by the giving. Your self-care is not a distraction from the performance, it is the essential maintenance of the instrument. No one can make beautiful music with a broken, untuned flute. The Buddha, in a way, was the supreme tuner of the human instrument. His teachings are not about what song to play, but about how to keep the instrument, body, speech, and mind, perfectly tuned so that its natural song, which is one of compassion and wisdom, can arise. I knew a woman, a healer, whose hands were said to have a comforting warmth. She would place them on the shoulders of the weary, and they would feel a wave of relief. But she took appointment after appointment, listening to stories of pain, absorbing the anxiety of others. She stopped soaking her own hands in warm, herb-scented water, a ritual that had once grounded her. She stopped taking quiet mornings for herself. She began to feel drained, and her patients started saying, politely, that her touch didn't feel the same. It felt faint, distant. She was giving a therapy she no longer embodied. It was only when a wise friend insisted she take a week off, not to travel, but to be utterly alone, to restore her own rituals, that the warmth returned to her hands. She learned that her healing power was not an infinite resource she owned, but a current that flowed through her. She had to be a clear, open channel for it. Block the channel with exhaustion and residue, and the current dims. This is a profound Buddhist principle, anatta, or not self. We do not possess an unlimited store of compassion as a personal commodity. Compassion is a quality of the universe that we can align with, that we can let flow through us when we are clear and open. Our practice of self-care is what keeps the passageway open. Neglecting ourselves is like building a dam in that very channel. Soon, nothing flows, not for us, not for anyone else. So, where do we begin? We begin with permission. Give yourself permission to tend to your own spring, your own instrument, your own channel. It is not a luxury. It is the foundation of all sustainable good. It is the very basis of the Buddha's path of right livelihood and right effort. Start small. One conscious breath before answering a call for help. One moment to ask yourself, is my bowl empty? Do I need to turn toward the spring? This is not hesitation, it is wisdom. Let us pause this part of our reflection here. We have planted the seed of understanding, that to help others skillfully, we must first be skillful with ourselves. Would you like to continue exploring this path of balanced compassion? If so, simply let me know, and we will proceed to the next part. Let us continue. Imagine you are a tree. Not a sapling, but a deep-rooted, wide-canopied tree. Your roots stretch far into the nourishing dark earth. This is your connection to stillness, to your values, to your own inner truth. Your branches reach out into the sky, offering shade, shelter, a place for birds to nest. This is your help to others. Now, what happens if this tree becomes so concerned with the branches, with providing more and more shade, that it neglects its roots? It stops drawing water from the deep soil. The leaves begin to wilt. The branches, though spread wide, become brittle. In a strong wind, the whole tree may topple, because its support is gone. This is the danger the Buddha warned us about. We can become so externally focused, so dedicated to the outer appearance of helpfulness, that we sever our connection to what sustains us. Spiritual practice, your meditation, your reflection, your moments of simple joy, is not a retreat from the world. It is the deepening of your roots. It is what allows you to stand tall and offer shelter for a lifetime, not just for a season. I recall a story from a coastal village. There was a keeper of the fishing boats. His job was to caulk the seams, mend the nets, and ensure every vessel was seaworthy before the fleet set out at dawn. He took immense pride in his work, knowing lives and livelihoods depended on it. But he worked through the night, by the light of a single lamp, refusing to rest. He believed that stopping, even to sleep, would be a betrayal of the fisherman. One morning, exhausted beyond measure, he applied the wrong sealant to a hull. He didn't notice his own error, his vision blurred by fatigue. That boat took on water far from shore. The crew was saved, but the boat was lost. In his desire to help without limit, he had made himself incapable of helping correctly. His mistake came not from lack of care, but from the depletion that made true care impossible. The Buddha taught sati, mindfulness, which must first be applied to oneself. The boat keeper, had he been mindful of his own exhaustion, would have seen that rest was a necessary part of his duty, not an interruption of it. This is a subtle but vital shift, seeing self-care not as separate from service, but as its very foundation. Your well-being is the prerequisite for your effective action in the world. In the Metta Sutta, the Buddha instructs us to cultivate loving kindness. The practice always begins with directing that kindness toward oneself. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. This is the root. From a heart that knows its own peace, genuine warmth can then radiate outward to loved ones, strangers, and even difficult beings. You cannot genuinely wish peace for all if you are at war with yourself. Let me share a personal anecdote. Years ago, I undertook a long period of solitary retreat in a small forest hut. The intention was deep meditation. But a severe storm damaged a nearby bridge used by villagers. When I learned of it, I felt a powerful pull to leave my retreat, to go and help rebuild. My mind was torn between my commitment to inner practice and the obvious outer need. I spoke to my teacher. He asked, "What is the quality of the help you would bring right now? Is it the help of a calm, centered mind, or the help of a mind fractured by conflict and hurry?" I saw his point. I spent that day dedicating my meditation to the villagers and the bridge workers, sending them metta, cultivating a focused, calm energy. The next day, with a clear and settled mind, I went to help. My presence was different. I worked with patience, not frenzy. I could listen to the others' ideas. My contribution, though physically small, felt harmonious. I learned that sometimes, the most direct way to help is not immediate action, but first returning to your center. From that center, action flows with greater wisdom and less waste. We live in a world that prizes constant motion, visible sacrifice. We confuse being busy with being benevolent. The Buddha's path is one of wise intention and wise effort. Wise effort knows that a bow kept forever taut loses its power to launch the arrow. It must be unstrung, rested, cared for. Your compassion is the arrow. Your self-renewal is the unstringing of the bow. Both are part of the archer's art. Think of a sponge in the ocean. Its nature is to absorb. It can soak up the salt water, and when squeezed, it can release that water to cleanse a surface. But if it is only ever squeezed, never allowed to sink back into the water to resaturate, it becomes hard, dry, and useless. It can no longer perform its function. We are like that sponge. The world asks us to be squeezed, to give of our emotional and spiritual substance. This is natural. But we must also grant ourselves the time to sink back into the ocean of our own being, through rest, through beauty, through silence, to become saturated again. Giving from a saturated sponge is effortless and abundant. Giving from a dry one is a painful, scraping dust. There was a teacher I admired greatly. She taught children with boundless energy and creativity. Her classroom was a marvel. But she spent every evening and weekend preparing elaborate lessons, to the point of neglecting her own health and friendships. She stopped reading books for her own pleasure. She stopped taking walks. After several years, her teaching, though still competent, lost its sparkle. It became predictable. The children felt it. They were learning, but they were not inspired. It was only during a forced medical leave that she rediscovered her own curiosity. She visited museums, watched documentaries, doodled in a sketchbook with no goal. When she returned to the classroom, she brought that curiosity back with her. Her lessons were simpler but alive with her own rekindled wonder. The children felt the difference immediately. She realized she had been giving them the ashes of her past passion, not the living flame of her present engagement. To ignite others, you must stay alight yourself. The Buddha often taught through similes of nature because nature understands balance inherently. A field that is farmed relentlessly, without fallow periods, becomes barren. It must be allowed to rest, to recover its nutrients, before it can yield another harvest. Your spirit is that field. Your acts of help are the harvest. If you demand a harvest every single season without fallow time, you will deplete the very soil from which compassion grows. Respecting your need for fallow time, for doing nothing outwardly productive, is not laziness. It is organic wisdom. It is sustainable cultivation of the heart. So, how do we practice this? We practice by introducing small, non-negotiable islands of fallow time into our days. It could be 5 minutes of sitting with a cup of tea, just feeling the warmth of the cup. It could be a short walk without a podcast, just listening to the sounds around you. It is time where your only job is to be a sponge in the ocean, a field lying fallow, a tree drinking from its roots. In these moments, you are not preparing to help. You are simply being. And it is from this deep well of being that all truly helpful doing will eventually flow. Let us pause here, absorbing this truth. Would you like to continue exploring this gentle path of balance? Let's move deeper into the forest of understanding. There is a quiet truth in Buddhism, one that is sometimes overlooked in our eagerness to be good: you cannot give what you do not have. It sounds simple, yet we defy this truth every day. We try to offer patience from a well of irritability. We try to offer calm from a storm of anxiety. We try to offer strength from a place of profound depletion. The Buddha's wisdom guides us toward authenticity. Your inner state is the source from which all your actions flow. If the source is troubled, even the most well-intentioned action will carry a trace of that trouble. This is not about being perfect before you help. It is about being honest. Sometimes, the most helpful thing you can do is to say, "I need a moment to find my calm, so I can be truly present for you." That honesty is a gift. It models self-respect and communicates that the interaction is worthy of your clearest self. I remember a man who ran a shelter for injured birds. He had a gentle touch and a vast knowledge of healing. People would bring him birds with broken wings, and he would work tirelessly to mend them. But he lived in a state of constant sorrow for all the suffering he witnessed. He stopped singing, a thing he had once loved. He stopped looking at the healthy birds flying freely outside his window. His entire world became the world of broken wings. Over time, his touch, though still technically skilled, lost its gentle reassurance. The birds seemed to heal more slowly. A veterinarian friend visited and said, "You are sharing your sadness with them. They need your hope, not your grief." The man was stunned. He began to force himself to take breaks, to sit in the sun, to watch the whole, soaring birds. He even began to hum his old songs quietly. As his own spirit lightened, the atmosphere in the shelter changed. The healing of his ward seemed to accelerate. He learned that he could not give the medicine of hope if his own vial was empty. He had to cultivate hope within himself to administer it to others. This aligns with a beautiful concept in Buddhist psychology, Brahmaviharas, the sublime abodes. They are loving kindness, metta, compassion, karu, sympathetic joy, mudita, and equanimity, upekkha. These are not just feelings to be projected outward. They are dwellings to be built and inhabited within your own heart. You must live in the house of kindness before you can invite others in. If your inner house is cold, dark, and neglected, any guest you bring inside will feel that chill. Your first compassionate act is to build a warm, lit, welcoming home within yourself. Consider a new metaphor. You are a lantern. Your inner peace, your mindfulness, is the oil. Your acts of service, your words of comfort, are the light that shines from the lantern. If you let the oil run dry because you are too busy shining the light everywhere, the flame will sputter and die. The darkness that follows is deeper for everyone. The Buddha's path of practice is the path of consistently, gently refilling the oil. Meditation, mindful breathing, ethical reflection, these are not selfish indulgences. They are the oil you pour into your lantern so that your light can shine steadily through the long night for those who are lost. To refuse to refill because others need the light right now is to ensure there will be no light later, when the need may be even greater. I knew a family mediator, a person who helped resolve deep conflicts. She was brilliant at finding common ground. But she absorbed the anger and pain of each party like a sponge. She stopped her daily practice of quiet journaling, which had been her way of processing and releasing these energies. She began to have nightmares. Her own personal relationships grew strained because she had no emotional space left. Her mediation sessions started to feel heavy and stuck. She was bringing the accumulated residue of past conflicts into new ones. On the advice of a colleague, she reinstated her journaling ritual without fail, even if just for 10 minutes after each session. She called it, clearing the bench. As she cleared her own inner bench, her clarity and neutrality in mediation returned. She could hold space without holding on to the pain. Her help became clean again. She understood that to hold a sacred, impartial space for others, she had to keep her own inner space sacred and clear. The Buddha taught the importance of seclusion, not as a permanent escape, but as a periodic necessity. Even amidst a busy community, a monk must find moments of bodily and mental seclusion to recollect himself, to see things as they are, free from the distortions of constant social engagement. This seclusion is the refilling of the lantern. In our lives, seclusion might be a quiet corner with a book, a bath, a walk alone. It is a temporary withdrawal from the field of giving, not to abandon it, but to return to it with renewed vision. Let me tell you a story about a well-digger. In a drought-stricken village, a well-digger was renowned for finding water where others could not. Villagers from all around called for him. He went from plot to plot, digging with relentless determination. He skipped meals, he slept little, driven by the sight of parched throats. But he himself stopped drinking adequate water. He became dehydrated, weak, and dizzy. One day, at a new site, his judgment clouded by exhaustion, he misread the signs and dug in the wrong spot. He dug a deep, dry hole. The villagers, seeing his failure, lost hope. A wise elder brought him water and food and said, "You seek to quench others' thirst while dying of thirst yourself. A well-digger must drink, or he will only dig graves." The well-digger rested, drank, and recovered his strength. His next well gushed with clean, cool water. The lesson was seared into him: to be a source for others, you must honor yourself as the primary vessel. Your energy, attention, and emotional reserves are like that water. You must drink first. This is not greed, it is the basic logistics of survival for a helper. The airplane safety instruction says to secure your own oxygen mask before assisting others. This is not a metaphor for selfishness, but for effective care. You are no help to anyone if you collapse. So, we integrate this by pausing. Before rushing to solve, to fix, to respond, we take one breath, a true, deep breath that reaches our belly. In that breath, we ask our inner lantern, do I have oil? Is my flame steady? This momentary pause is the beginning of wisdom. It is the heartbeat of balance. Let us rest in this understanding. The path continues. Let us explore this balance through the lens of two wings. In Buddhism, wisdom and compassion are often described as the two wings of a bird. Both are needed for flight. Compassion without wisdom can be misguided, exhausting, even harmful. Wisdom without compassion can be cold, detached, and sterile. But there is another pair of wings necessary for the flight of a balanced life. The wing of caring for others and the wing of caring for oneself. Flap only the wing of caring for others, and you will spin in circles of burnout and resentment. Flap only the wing of caring for yourself, and you will remain grounded in isolation. But when both wings move in a harmonious rhythm, a gentle, powerful beat where self-care lifts you so you can soar toward others, then true, sustained flight is possible. The Buddha's middle way is this rhythmic flight, avoiding the crash of either extreme. I will share a story about a potter. This potter had a unique gift: she could shape clay into forms that seemed to hold silence itself. People said her bowls made water taste sweeter, her vases made flowers stand straighter. Orders poured in from temples and homes seeking that peace. To meet the demand, she began to skip steps. She didn't wedge the clay thoroughly to remove air bubbles. She didn't let the pieces dry slowly and evenly. She fired them in a rush. At first, the pieces looked fine. But soon, clients returned with bowls that had cracked in quiet lines, vases that leaked from hidden fissures. The potter was devastated. An old master visited her hectic workshop. He didn't speak of customers or deadlines. He simply picked up a lump of clay and began to wedge it, turning it over and over with a slow, rhythmic pressure for a long, silent time. He said, "The care you give to the clay before it becomes a pot determines whether it will hold together or fall apart. You cannot rush the foundation. The potter understood. She had been so focused on the finished product, the act of giving the pot to the world, that she had neglected the essential, private care of the material itself. Her self-care was the wedging, the slow drying, the patient firing. Without it, her gift to the world was fundamentally flawed. She returned to the slow rhythm, and the integrity, and peace, returned to her work. This is a profound mirror for our lives. We are both the potter and the clay. The acts of service we offer are the finished pots. But if we do not give that same careful, patient, respectful attention to ourselves, wedging out our anxieties, allowing ourselves to dry and solidify in stillness, firing our spirits in the gentle heat of rest, then what we offer to the world will have hidden cracks. It may look helpful on the surface, but it will not hold. It will not sustain. The Buddha taught the principle of anicca, impermanence. All things are in flux, including our energy and resolve. A wise person understands this flow and does not pretend to have a permanent, infinite store of giving. They respect the natural cycles of depletion and replenishment. To try to give against the tide of your own depletion is to fight a fundamental law of nature. It is an exercise in frustration and eventual collapse. I remember a social worker named Leo. He was a fierce advocate for homeless youth, working 80-hour weeks, his phone always on. He knew every resource, every loophole in the system. But he wore his exhaustion like a badge of honor. He stopped seeing friends. He ate fast food in his car between appointments. He forgot what the sky looked like in daylight. After 2 years, he developed a constant, low-grade resentment. Not toward the youths he served, but toward the universe for its endless need. His advocacy became sharp, impatient, less effective. One night, a young man he was trying to help looked at him and said, "You seem more lost than I am." That sentence shattered Leo. He took a mandatory leave. At first, he felt like a deserter. But during that time, he slept. He cooked a meal. He visited an art gallery. He remembered beauty for no reason. When he returned, his work was different. He was still a fierce advocate, but there was a patience in his ferocity, a space within his urgency. He could listen better. The young man who had spoken the truth became one of his greatest success stories. Leo learned that his cause needed not just a soldier, but a whole human being. A soldier eventually breaks. A whole human being endures and adapts. Your humanity is not an obstacle to your service, it is the very instrument of it. To preserve your humanity, you must tend to it. This is the essence of the Buddhist precept of right livelihood, engaging in work that does not harm yourself or others. Constantly depleting yourself in the name of helping is, ultimately, a harm to yourself and diminishes the quality of help for others. It violates the spirit of that precept. Think of a bridge made of ancient, woven vines. It stretches across a deep ravine, allowing travelers to cross safely. The villagers who maintain it have a simple ritual. Every month, they don't just check the parts where feet tread, they check the anchor points deep in the cliffs on both sides. They understand that the stability of the entire bridge depends on the strength of its connections to the solid earth on either bank. You are that bridge. One bank is your inner world of solitude and self-knowledge. The other bank is the outer world of relationship and service. If you only maintain the planks in the middle, the visible acts of help While letting the anchor points in your own inner cliff erode, the whole structure will one day give way. Your monthly ritual, your weekly check-in, your daily breath, these are inspections of your anchor points. They are non-negotiable maintenance for the bridge of your compassion. So, we practice by building and honoring these rituals. A ritual doesn't have to be grand. It can be lighting a candle in the morning with the intention, "May my light be steady today." It can be washing your hands mindfully, feeling the water, and imagining cleansing away the dust of others' burdens you may have carried. It is a deliberate touch point with your own anchor point. Let this understanding settle within you. The journey of balance is a continuous, gentle returning to yourself. Now, let us consider the space between breaths. That moment of stillness after the exhale, before the inhale draws itself in. In that quiet hinge, there is no giving, no receiving. Only presence. That space is a metaphor for the balance we seek. It is not in the frantic doing of helping, nor in the isolated being of retreat. It is in the gentle, aware pause that connects the two. The Buddha's teachings on mindfulness, sati, invite us to inhabit these pauses. To be aware of the body, the feelings, the mind itself. This awareness, first turned inward, is what allows our outward actions to be conscious and kind rather than reactive and draining. When you lose yourself in helping, you lose this pause. You move directly from one demand to the next without that restorative stillness in between. You become a chain of reactions, not a source of conscious action. I recall a gardener who tended a community garden in the heart of a bustling city. She grew vegetables for a local soup kitchen. Her dedication was immense. She was there before sunrise, weeding, watering, composting, harvesting. She saw it as her direct service to the hungry. But she never sat on the bench at the edge of the garden. She never just watched the bees dance among the blossoms, or felt the sun on her closed eyelids. The garden became a task list, a field of duty. One season, a blight affected the tomatoes. She fought it with all her energy, but it spread. An older gardener from a nearby plot visited. He didn't look at the plants first. He looked at her. He said, "You are trying to heal the fruit without tending to the spirit of the soil. The soil is tired. And so are you." He invited her to simply sit with him on the bench for 10 minutes each day, in silence, before working. Reluctantly, she agreed. As they sat, she began to notice things, the pattern of light through the leaves, the smell of the damp earth. Her shoulders dropped. After a week of these pauses, her approach to the blight changed. Instead of frantic treatments, she carefully removed the affected plants, gave the soil extra nourishment, and planted a few resilient companion flowers. The garden recovered. She learned that the healing intelligence she sought for the plants was accessed in the pause, not in the frenzy. Her service needed the space of the bench. In Buddhism, this is the practice of samatha, calm abiding. It is the cultivation of a steady, peaceful mind. This calm is not a passive state. It is the clear pool from which all effective action can be seen truly and responded to wisely. You cannot create calm in the outer world if you are a storm within. The first field to cultivate calm is your own mind and body. This is the most fundamental form of self-help, which makes all other help possible. Let me offer a new metaphor. Imagine your attention as a beam of light from a lighthouse. When you are balanced, the light turns in a slow, steady, reliable rhythm. It sweeps across the dark waters, illuminating dangers, guiding ships, then passes on, leaving the sea in darkness again until its next cycle. This is natural. It gives everyone a chance to see the light, and it gives the lighthouse keeper time to maintain the lamp. But when you lose yourself in helping, you try to make the light static. You try to shine it on one ship, or on all the sea at once, burning the mechanism and blinding everyone. You forget the necessary, rhythmic sweep. The time of shining and the time of turning inward to tend the flame. The Buddha was a master of this rhythm. He spent time in deep meditation, then emerged to teach. He retreated to the forest, then walked among villages. His life was the steady, illuminating sweep of the lighthouse, not a desperate, fixed glare. I knew a therapist who specialized in trauma. She had a remarkable capacity to listen and hold painful stories. But she began to feel she had to hold them forever. She stopped engaging in her own joyful hobbies, painting, hiking, because they felt frivolous compared to the weight of her clients' pain. She began to carry a constant, low hum of sadness. Her clients started to report feeling that their stories were becoming a burden to her, which made them hesitant to share. Supervision revealed the truth: she had stopped allowing her own light to sweep away. She was staring fixedly at the trauma, trying to hold it in a constant beam of attention. Her supervisor insisted she reintroduce her painting, not as therapy, but as play. As she reconnected with color and form for no reason, her inner light regained its rhythm. She could be fully present with a client's pain, then allow her attention to sweep back to her own life, to beauty, to play. This made her presence safer, stronger. The holding became temporary and therefore more sustainable, like the lighthouse beam. This reflects the Buddhist understanding of sunyata, often translated as emptiness. It does not mean nothingness, but rather the interconnected, fluid, empty nature of all phenomena. When we try to fix ourselves as permanent helpers, clutching to an identity of the one who gives, we suffer. We forget the empty, fluid space that allows giving and receiving to flow. By returning to our own interests, our own quiet moments, we touch that emptiness, the space where we are not defined by our role. From that space, we can return to our role refreshed and more authentic. So, we must build rhythmic pauses into our lives. They are the dark between the sweeps of the lighthouse beam. They are the exhale before the inhale. They can be micropauses, feeling your feet on the floor before answering an email, savoring the first sip of a drink, looking out a window for 3 full breaths. These are not breaks from life, they are the spaces that make a conscious life possible. They are how you avoid becoming lost in the continuous noise of giving. Let this rhythm find a place in your awareness. The balance is in the turning, not just in the light. Let's turn our attention to the idea of boundaries, not as walls, but as the permeable membrane of a living cell. A cell has a membrane that defines it, that allows it to be a distinct entity. Yet, this membrane is not a solid barrier. It is discerning. It lets in nourishment and releases waste. It communicates with its environment. Without this membrane, the cell would dissolve, losing its ability to function or contribute to the larger organism. In the same way, your sense of self, your values, your energy, your peace, needs a permeable, discerning membrane. Helping others without a healthy sense of self is like a cell without a membrane. You simply diffuse into the environment, losing your structure and capacity. The Buddha's teaching on anatta, or not self, is often misunderstood. It does not mean we are nothing or that we should have no self-care. It points to the fluid, interconnected nature of the self. To navigate this fluidity without dissolving requires the mindful cultivation of healthy boundaries, the membrane that allows for healthy exchange, not annihilation. I remember a dedicated nurse in a hospice. Her compassion was so vast she tried to take on the emotional weight of every patient and family, believing that to truly comfort, she had to feel their despair fully. She stopped protecting her own heart. She would come home and weep for hours, carrying the grief like it was her own. Over time, a numbness set in, followed by a brittle professionalism that lacked true warmth. She was burning out. A chaplain observed her and shared a simple image. You are trying to drink the ocean to quench someone else's thirst. You will drown, and they will still be thirsty. Be the cup instead. Hold the water for a time, let them drink, then let the cup be empty again. This shifted something in her. She began to see her role not as a vessel for absorbing pain, but as a vessel for offering presence. She instituted a brief ritual after each shift. She would wash her hands slowly, feeling the water, and consciously imagine letting the day's sorrows flow down the drain, while retaining the lessons of compassion. She rebuilt her membrane. Her presence at the bedside became more peaceful, more truly comforting, because she was no longer drowning. She was a clear, strong cup. This aligns with the Buddhist concept of upekkha, equanimity. It is the balanced, even-minded state that allows us to be present with joy and sorrow without being overthrown by either. Equanimity is not cold indifference, it is the spacious stability of the membrane. It allows us to engage deeply without being destroyed by the engagement. It is what allows a helper to remain a helper, day after day, without breaking. Consider a mountain spring that feeds a village below. The spring is protected by a small, simple stone basin. The basin doesn't hoard the water, it allows it to collect, clear and cool, before it flows out through a channel to the village. People come to the basin to fill their jars. The basin's job is simply to be a clean, intact holding space. If the basin cracks, the water drains into the mud and is lost to all. If it gets clogged with leaves, the water stagnates. The caregiver is that stone basin. Your self-care, your sleep, your meditation, your moments of joy, is the maintenance of that basin. Keeping it intact, clear, and clean. This allows the water of your compassion to collect and flow clearly to those who need it. Neglecting yourself is letting the basin crack or clog. Then, no one gets clean water. I once met a community organizer in a struggling neighborhood. He was the go-to person for everything. Fixing leaks, mediating disputes, finding resources. His phone rang at all hours. He said yes to every request, fearing that no would mean letting people down. He stopped reading, stopped exercising, stopped having meals he didn't eat standing up. He began to feel a deep, unspoken resentment. His help became hurried, his tone sometimes sharp. People started to hesitate before calling him. A mentor took him aside and said, "You have become like a public park with no closing hours. Trampled, littered, with no time for the grass to regrow. Even parks need to close for restoration." The organizer began to institute park hours. He communicated that he was unavailable after 8 p.m. and for a few hours on Sunday morning. At first, there was anxiety, but soon people adapted. Those hours became sacred for his restoration. He returned to his work more present and effective. His no to constant availability became a deeper yes to the quality of his help. He learned that a boundary is not a rejection of others, it is an affirmation of the sustainability of your care. The Buddha, after his enlightenment, could have spent every moment teaching. But he did not. He spent time in solitude, in what is called living apart. He also established rules for the monastic community, the Vinaya, which included boundaries around interaction, solitude, and routine. These were not restrictions on compassion, but structures to protect the vessel of compassion from breaking. They were the stone basin, the cell membrane, the park gates. Your personal Vinaya, your code of protective boundaries, might include not checking emails after a certain hour, dedicating time for a walk without your phone, learning to say, "I need to think about that," before committing. These are not selfish. They are the structures that allow your generosity to be a renewable resource, not a finite one. So, we practice by honoring our own need for a membrane. Before automatically saying yes, we take a breath to check in with the basin. Is it intact? Is it clear? This momentary reflection is an act of wisdom that serves everyone in the long run. Let this idea of the nourishing boundary settle within you. Let us now contemplate the nature of a stream that flows through a forest. It moves, it gives life to the banks, it reflects the sky. But the stream does not try to give life. It does not force itself to reflect. It simply is its own clear, flowing nature, and from that being, giving happens naturally. This is a subtle but profound distinction the Buddha makes. When we lose ourselves in helping, we often shift from a state of being, from which compassionate action flows, into a state of straining, where we force action from a sense of obligation or identity. The first is sustainable, aligned, and light. The second is exhausting, misaligned, and heavy. Our spiritual practice is about returning to our own clear, flowing nature. From that place, help is not an extraction, it is an overflow. I will tell you a story about a woodcarver. He was renowned for crafting beautiful statues of deities, his work found in temples across the land. His process was slow. He would spend days, sometimes weeks, simply studying a block of wood. He would touch it, sit with it, walk around it. He said he was listening for the form already inside it. Only then would he make the first cut. His students, eager to produce, would jump straight to carving. Their statues were technically good but felt lifeless. One impatient student asked, "Master, why do you waste so much time just looking? The need for these statues is great." The woodcarver replied, "If I do not first become still and know the wood, my chisel will only express my own hurry, my own ideas of what should be there. That is not giving form to the divine, that is imposing my own noise. The wood, and the God within it, deserve my silence first." The student began to practice the looking. His own work transformed. The master's lesson was about the inner silence that must precede true creation. In the same way, an inner stillness must precede true compassion. If our helping is just the noise of our own need to be needed, it carries that discord. This touches the Buddhist principle of right intention. Our intention behind an action is everything. Is the intention rooted in wisdom and genuine care, or in fear, guilt, or a craving for recognition? Checking our intention requires that inner stillness, the woodcarver's quiet looking at the block. When we are lost in compulsive helping, we rarely check our intention. We are just reacting to need. By pausing to connect with our own stillness, we can ask, does this action arise from clarity, or from confusion? From love, or from fear? This refines the quality of our help immeasurably. Consider the moon. It gives no light of its own. It reflects the light of the sun. Yet, on a dark night, its reflected light is a gentle guide for travelers. You are like the moon. Your inner peace, your wisdom, your clarity, these are not necessarily yours to generate from nothing. They are reflections of a deeper truth, a universal dharma, that you can access when your own surface is calm and clear. Your acts of help are like that moonlight, a reflected guidance. But if your own surface is agitated, cloudy, or turned away from the source, there is no reflection to give. You cannot guide anyone. All your frantic activity is just movement in the dark. Self-care is the process of calming your surface, polishing it, and orienting it toward the sun of understanding. Then, without strain, you reflect light effortlessly. I knew a teacher who felt responsible for the success of every single student. She poured endless energy into lesson plans, extra tutoring, and emotional support. But she was constantly anxious, her mind a storm of what-ifs. Her students began to feel her anxiety, it subtly transmitted to them as pressure. A senior educator observed her and said, "You are trying to be the sun and the moon. Be the moon. Create the conditions, the calm, clear space, and let the light of their own understanding dawn within it." She began to incorporate short moments of silent reflection into her classes. She focused first on calming her own mind before each lesson. She stopped trying to force understanding and instead created a space for it. The atmosphere in her classroom softened. Students became more engaged, more self-reliant. Her help became more powerful because it was no longer a heavy gift she carried to them, but a space she held for them. The Buddha taught the Dhamma, the truth, as something to be realized individually. The best teacher cannot pour realization into a student's mind. They can only point the way, create the conditions, and clarify the obstacles. This requires the teacher to be clear, patient, and unattached to the outcome. This is the moon's way. It does not force light, it offers it through its own clarity. So, how do we cultivate this moonlight quality? We practice non-doing. We allow ourselves times where our only task is to be clear and receptive. A daily meditation where you are not trying to achieve anything. A walk without a destination. Sitting with a cup of tea, just tasting the tea. In these moments, you are polishing the surface of the moon. You are calming the water to better reflect the sky. From this calm, your actions will naturally reflect more light and less chaos. Let this image of the calm moon on still water rest in your heart. True help is a reflection of inner peace. We arrive now at the heart of the matter, the quiet center where all these paths meet. It is the understanding that self-care and caring for others are not two different roads, but one single path viewed from different angles. To walk the Buddha's middle way is to see that nurturing your own peace is an act of service to the world, and that serving others wisely is a way to deepen your own peace. They feed each other in a virtuous cycle, but the cycle must begin with a truthful relationship with yourself. You cannot offer a kindness you refuse to give yourself. The journey of losing yourself in helping is, at its core, a forgetting of this fundamental unity. You begin to see the world as, out there, separate from you, a problem to be solved by your depletion. But the Dharma teaches interconnectedness. Your well-being is woven into the well-being of all. Honoring your own life is not a retreat from the collective, it is a responsible tending to one vital thread in the great web. I will share one final story, a personal one from my time in a remote hermitage. There was an ancient bell hanging near a cliff edge, placed there by monks long past to be rung in meditation. Over decades, the rope had frayed, worn by wind and rain and hands. My task for a season was to guard the silence of the place, but I also felt a duty to preserve this artifact. Every day, I would look at the fraying rope with worry. I thought, I must find a way to replace it, to fix it, to keep the bell safe for future use. I spent mental energy scheming how to get a new rope up the mountain. One evening, as I sat watching the sunset paint the cliffs, the wind stirred and the bell gave a single, soft, resonant tone. It was not a ring pulled by a hand, but a whisper struck by the world itself. In that moment, I saw my error. I was so focused on preserving the bell's function for a future doing, for ringing, that I was missing its present being. The frayed rope was not a problem to be solved by me in that instant. It was part of the bell's history, its interaction with time. My anxious desire to fix was a subtle form of control, a refusal to accept the nature of impermanence. My true duty was not to urgently replace the rope, but to be fully present with the bell as it was, frayed rope, rusted metal, beautiful sound when the wind chose to play it. In that acceptance, my inner conflict settled. I did eventually replace the rope, but from a place of calm stewardship, not anxious obligation. The help I offered the bell, and the future meditators, came from a clearer, less possessive place. This is the essence of balanced compassion. It is action that arises from deep acceptance, not from restless resistance to the way things are. It is helping that comes from a fullness of being, not an emptiness seeking to fill itself. The Buddha's path leads us to this fullness. The practices of morality, sila, concentration, samadhi, and wisdom, panna, are not selfish pursuits. They are the means of filling your own cup to the brim so that it naturally overflows. The overflow is your help, your kindness, your work in the world. It requires no forcing, no loss of self. It is the most natural thing in the world. Think of a seed. A seed holds immense potential for a great tree that will provide shade, fruit, and shelter. But if you plant that seed and then dig it up every day to check on its progress, to show others its potential, or to water it with frantic anxiety, you will kill it. The seed needs to be left in the dark soil, unseen, to do its silent work of rooting. Your own spiritual and emotional growth is like that. It needs periods of being left alone, untouched by the demands of performance and help. This is not neglect of the world. It is the necessary incubation for your future capacity to truly shelter others. The most profound growth happens in the unseen dark. Respect your need for that dark, for that quiet rooting. As we conclude, let me leave you with a simple, practical synthesis. Every day, you might ask yourself two questions, not as a test, but as a gentle touchstone. First, what have I done today to nourish my own roots, to fill my own cup? This could be a breath, a moment of beauty, a healthy meal, a boundary honored. Second, how did that nourishment allow me to be more present, patient, or kind in my interactions? Just notice the connection. You are not aiming for perfection. You are practicing awareness. Some days, the answer to the first question might be, I took one full breath before reacting. That is enough. That breath is the beginning of the path back to yourself. The Buddha's wisdom is a gentle, enduring invitation to live from wholeness. In this busy world, you may often feel the pull to give yourself away. Remember the clear forest pool, the stone basin, the calm moon, the rooted tree. Remember that your greatest gift to others is not a depleted version of yourself, but a person who is whole, present, and at peace. From that place, your help becomes a true blessing, light as a feather and strong as a mountain. Thank you for walking this path of reflection with me at Monk's Temple. If these words have been a companion to you, I invite you to subscribe, so we may continue these journeys of gentle wisdom together. May you carry this understanding into your days. May you help others without losing yourself. May you be a light for the world, first by honoring the light within you. Go in peace. Go in balance. And may you be well, happy, and free from suffering. You are not aiming for perfection. You are practicing awareness. Some days, the answer to the first question might be, I took one full breath before reacting. That is enough. That breath is the beginning of the path back to yourself. The Buddha's wisdom is a gentle, enduring invitation to live from wholeness. In this busy world, you may often feel the pull to give yourself away. Remember the clear forest pool, the stone basin, the calm moon, the rooted tree. Remember that your greatest gift to others is not a depleted version of yourself, but a person who is whole, present, and at peace. From that place, your help becomes a true blessing, light as a feather and strong as a mountain. Thank you for walking this path of reflection with me at Monk's Moon Temple. If these words have been a companion to you, I invite you to subscribe, so we may continue these journeys of gentle wisdom together. May you carry this understanding into your days. May you help others without losing yourself. May you be a light for the world, first by honoring the light within you. Go in peace. Go in balance. And may you be well, happy, and free from suffering.